All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. It was quite the eventful start to the beginning of the week. Not only did we have to deal with Syria and all of that stuff, we found out who the UNH killer was, and he is now in custody. And then on top of all of that, we got a little surprise from China, and China stocks went crazy, and we got to talk about that. So I got the keys. I have the plays. We're going to go over all of that, and don't forget, this week is all about the CPI and it leads into Powell, but we are getting a lot of wild weeks so far. So we got a couple of things we need to talk about overseas. So I got the plays, the keys, all that good stuff. What I need from you, a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/the stock market. We will see you there in the morning, baby. Run it.
It's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
But right off the bat, we have a lot of different things to talk about. So let's just start with the market. Besides all of the news events, it was a pretty chill day, even though the market actually went down. And why I say actually, because we were on a nice little streak there of setting new highs and hitting consecutive green days. Now, I want you to keep that in mind because I've been saying this since last week. Every time you melt up 100 points, if you finally get a red day, I don't really think it means the market is coming down. We are not actually declining. So everything sold off. NASDAQ, SPY, and the Dow. The Russell was actually green in the morning, even though the bonds went red and the dollar was up there. But eventually, by the end of the day, the Russell came down. If you were there in the pre-market, we were noticing there, all the pre-market movers, man, there was a lot of small caps, but eventually that faded. But I don't think this was telling of anything. Yeah, you had a lot of different events going on, but we are kind of getting ready now for the second part of the melt-up leading into the inauguration. Remember, up until like tomorrow or today, this is like that slow part, but before you know it, all of the seasonality is positive from here. So I wouldn't freak out too much about that, and that was the first key. But now, coming into the global events, there's a couple of things we need to talk about, China being the main one. But now we talked about it last night. There was a lot of crazy headlines, even crazy developments into the morning. But I was telling you, the markets aren't going to really care. And all throughout the day, you didn't even watch a bid on bonds. It's not as if this conflict in Syria had people rushing to any exits. If anything, this just solidifies that the dollar is that dominant trade and probably is going to be for a little bit now. So you didn't get much reaction from there. The UNH shooter, they caught him, and the only effect was literally healthcare stocks and UNH going up. You can't make this up. It's actually kind of wild. But that was the second piece of news. And then the final thing, it was China coming back with the headlines about stimulus. So I was already telling you that economic conference, that was going to be on Wednesday. That's when they were going to be talking about it. We did talk about China. I mean, I hate to do it, but, you know, I got the... This is why I tell y'all to watch the watch list, man, especially when we cover early. Look at it. It's on the live watch list. So I ended up making the play. This watch list is from November 21st, and we talked about China. I told you, get ready to load up. I think even right here, about it. It's been a little quiet. The reaction has been muted. A lot of their earnings came out in the last 48 hours, and guess what? They did bad. So like I'm saying, give it a little bit of time. Let it kind of bottom out, but even towards the end, maybe in December, let's just keep your eye out for it. So yeah, this is December. And actually, it came in a little earlier than expected. So we were already positioning there, but this is a big deal. Now, what is a big deal? We're going to find out on Wednesday, and I told you, we're going to play that game of whether or not the stimulus comes back, but why everybody got so excited today is because Xi Jinping already changed some of the language leading up to it. There's a statement that they put out targeting some of the goals, and they said that they want to have moderately loose economic activity or an economic environment and growth. And why that's such a big deal, because the last 14, 15 years, they have used the word prudent. So they switched that to moderately loose, and that got everybody thinking round two. So remember, we've talked about this even from August, September. We said it's going to be choppy. I've been giving you updates like even a couple of weeks ago. We even made a couple of plays on it, and now this could be round two. Now everyone's getting excited. Hopefully Wednesday is not a disappointment when they come out with this meeting, but now this is going to relate into some of the broader factors and kind of the last key here. You know, what we're dealing with this week, it's all about the CPI. how that ties into the Fed, even then, the dollar, the Fed, that is the main event, because even if something goes wrong, everybody cares about the dollar. So really, by the end of this year, the final event will be Powell on December 18th. The final big set of data we get is this week. Other than that, though, like China's stimulus even shows today, it's about to be the overseas game if there's going to be anything that is going to happen between now and January 20th or whatever. So I hope you guys are following the narrative. I hope you're ready for it. Again, if anything changes, I'll give you an update, but now you're watching these moving pieces from Europe and other global conflicts. Now we got China. Again, what is going to happen to the dollar? And then after the inauguration, that's where the real action starts, baby. So I hope you're ready for all of it. Another wild day to end the year, but I think it's going to be exciting next year. So I hope you're ready. But now, let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, is it a surprise? I got to start off with China, man. So I don't think it's too late to make another play from that watch list. If you played, I remember I grabbed May plays because I already had a bunch of other free China plays from the first rally. We hit that one too. Now we got two of them. I made my other China plays free again today. I still think you could play it, but if you were on like December contracts, some people made 900% from when we were talking about it. My plays went up 200%. They were the furthest out of the money and had a lot of time. So that should give you an idea. So these options, they're unnecessarily expensive when you could have just bought them very cheap. So the rule I've been telling you, even from the last couple months, so you didn't get burned on the last China rally, the back and forth. Again, it's going to be choppy. Even though we may get a boost here now, it's not over yet, man. Even coming into next year, it's still going to be choppy. So don't get your hopes up, but that just means only buy the red days. You want to play China? You like the news? You like the stimulus? I like it now. Yeah, I like the value. Well, okay. Just buy it when it's red. Don't buy it when it's green, because that's when they jack up the premiums. And then when China gets down, it gets really depressed. They're like, oh, man, why did I buy this? It's never going to work. And they get really cheap. So watch out for that. But also don't forget, the next play in this trade is materials. If China actually comes back online, their economic growth picks up, materials are going to start going up, even cheap oil. I think this is going to be a narrative and feedback loop you see next year. Cheap oil, bullish China, bearish China. If we have higher oil, I think you're going to see this play out. So just keep this in mind. You don't have to go for the China plays. If you are, only go for the red days and then materials. If we really start watching this China recovery take legs, that's going to be the next part of it. So hopefully this watch list helps you out. But that is play number one. And then play number two. This one blew my mind today. Hershey's, bro. So on Friday, we had the rumor of Hershey's getting bought out. And I said cap. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't like, a lot of reports are sometimes opinion, but I'm like, Hershey's is a mega company. There's not too many. There's like 5-10 people in the world who would be down to buy them. And one of them, Mondelez, they said that there's actually a rumor. So that got a little bit more legs today. Nothing confirmed, no details on price, but I think this is wild news. It would be one of the biggest mergers, two really big names. Even if it falls through, the stock has moved up a ton. So I think this thing's going to swing back and forth. It was already one of those value plays. So keep an eye out for Hershey's. I did make a play on it. Only spent like $30. So we'll see where that takes us. But that was play number two. And then finally, play number three, my friends, gold. I feel like we haven't talked about this, but we talked about it a lot in the beginning of the year. But now this might be back into the conversation. And why? Because it is part of the China play. But if you didn't know, remember in the beginning of the year, they were talking about China buying a ton of gold. Even the people in China, they were buying the little gold beans and all of that. And there was also a headline that China said they're going to stop buying gold, their central bank. Remember, that was one of those gold narratives as they started to begin the initial cycle of rate cuts. Now, after today, even though they announced the stimulus stuff, China also said that they would be down to resume some of those purchases after a 6-month pause. So like I said, tie this into the China play and materials, gold, and people buying it, especially with everything else going on around the world. I don't think it'll go below 2,500. That's what people at Bank of America have been saying. I mean, I think that's what Bank of America thinks. I could see that, but I bought my gold really cheap. So You never know. I don't really trust any target, but I think gold might be back in play. We'll see end of the year. Same thing happened if you guys remember. SLV is going to be on watch too, but this is going to be complicated because the dollar is strong and Bitcoin and all these different things going on, and depending on how economic events play out, I mean, you could see how gold, like I'm saying, maybe there's more downside than people expect. It's already up a lot, and the same things that would make gold kind of go up, if it also brings up the dollar, that's going to start getting tricky at one point. But either way, with some of the headlines in China, I would definitely keep a short-term eye on this, and let's see where this develops into the end of the year in the month of December. But that is play number 3. As far as everything else, I made a couple plays today. So remember the ARC from yesterday, I told you guys the plan, and that worked out. It gapped up a little bit today, and I said, you know what? If this thing goes red, there's not that much time. I actually had like an extra week or two, so I didn't have to be as paranoid. But again, these contracts were really cheap. They got a lot of value. I was up after being red, even though a lot of other contracts with time went up. So I took my profit, and like I said, if there's volatility and this stock don't go straight up, I'm down to do the triple dip. And now here's the deal. I did add that triple dip. I grabbed, after I sold for 270, I put the same amount I put in. So either way, like I put in my initial investment. Even if this play that I made today loses, I'm actually just walking away with the same amount I had when I started the December play, because I pulled out additional profit here today too. So the whole idea with all of this, and then again, we hit the other arcs prior to that, but this play, January, I grabbed the, did I not have the call up here? Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be the 80 call. I was looking for it. I was like, wait, where is it? You're probably like, Josh, where is it? I grabbed the January 80 call. I grabbed 10 of them at 19 cents. But here's the deal. I think this could drop 50%. Now, just like the Tesla, maybe it goes up, maybe it doesn't. But what I'm trying to say is I got it like green, where I sold off my ARC when it was green this morning, and then the stock dropped like 2.5–3%, and the contracts were a lot higher, but this contract was just like 10 cents not too long ago. So if ARC calms down or has a pullback before the end of the year, and then there's one more pop before the inauguration, these contracts could still get washed. So don't force it. We've had a lot of good luck on these, but this is my third dip on this now, playing with like triple free money. So be careful. I do think there could still be downside, but that was my second play of the day. Then I grabbed the Hershey's, the January 300 calls. I grabbed one at 30. They ended up going down to 15 cents after the hype died down, but this was like the only play at the time. It did triple up and then came down for a little bit during all the initial hype, but ended up not really creating much drama. Again, we don't know the buyout price, but like I said, going to be watching Hershey's, and then the next play was Rivian. So they gapped up today. I don't even know why, actually. Actually, I'm forgetting the news, but they killed it. They were up 15%. If you guys remember, it was like prior to one of the earnings, I just said, hey, if I'm going to do the criteria, I even talked about this stock bargain bin for the long term if it went to like $2. So I said, might as well, just in case, grab a leap. And I grabbed these for like 40 cents. A couple months ago, they shot up now. They doubled up. I have till like January 26th. I'm making everything free, if you guys couldn't tell. I talked about it today. It has done well. We've done very well on options, even though the other year I didn't trade as many of the options. This year has been great, but I have done a lot of things free. I want to make money, and I want to keep it, and making it free just makes sure no matter what. Yeah, you're not going to maximize it sometimes. Oh, you miss out. Oh, I could have made this. Again, my docu I could have doubled, tripled up on that, but the whole point is you're not going to lose. You're not going to walk away a loser no matter what the volatility or what happens in the market. So I'm down with it. I'm building up a nice little garden of free plays in a wild stock market that's breaking historical records. So why not? But I sold one of them, made them free, got all my money back, got one free Rivian Leap now, and then I sold the KWEB. This was the play I made. I grabbed 20 of them at 15 cents a pop. And this is for May. And like I'm saying, if you played December, they went up like 900%. So I hope you made them free. I hit a point. This was like the top tick of the day, but I sold 7 out of 20. I got my $300 initial investment back, and now I have 13 free contracts on this whole China thing till like middle of next year. So inshallah, habibi, let's see. I like it, but other than that, man, the mission is the same. Let's make some free plays. Otherwise, let the long-term ride. Again, a couple names, even like Whirlpool went crazy off of the Trump mention. Make sure you guys follow me on my Twitter. Where is it? I can't even find it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we posted a bunch of other stuff. Again, even that Whirlpool's transcript, even Hershey's during the day. But even if you want any of the updates, I mean, I have a meme too, but yeah, my computer tripping out. So real cool news on Twitter. I post the earnings preview. Again, there's a lot of crazy updates, but we'll see where it all takes us. But Chattadonia, let's have a cool day tomorrow. I mean, what is the world going to throw at us? We'll find out. CPI on Wednesday. And then before you know it, it's pal game time. But Chad, That is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember the greatest sin of all of them, even in practicality, the only thing that's going to mess you up is pride. You don't have a problem with greed. You ain't got a problem with girls. You ain't got a problem with this and that. It all starts from pride. You control the pride and ego, my brother. You're going to get yourself out of a lot of problems. Much success. That's it. And pride is competitive. You wouldn't be prideful if you didn't compare. That's all, Mike. Don't get me started. Go watch the Philo, but Chad, I love you. Drink the water. Stay hydrated, healthy. I'll see you in the morning. And Horna.